Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Lunch and Learn with LaQuita and Adina. Welcome, everyone who's tuning in from Facebook, from Twitter, Periscope, also YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. We are super excited today to be rejoined with one of our very special guests, Mr. Ahmad Rashad. Not that one, the other one, the other
Exactly.
one. LaQuita, it's good to see you. Ahmad, good to see you as well. How's everybody doing?
Thanks for having me back again. God bless America.
Amen. Because we definitely need that. Amen to that. Again, we want to thank all of our viewers that are tuning in from all of the social media channels. We are definitely inviting you to like and share with anyone else that you think may benefit from this. If you missed the last episode, which Ahmad appeared with us, he had a chance to be able to speak about the power of your voice. And so we wanted to be able to actually give him a little more time to be able to speak a little bit more in depth about what he does and to speak about not only Power 77, which is a Christian internet radio station, but also to speak a little bit more about podcasting, and which is also another means for you to be able to express your voice. And so just wanted to be able to take time to be able to do that. So thank you again so much for joining us. And so Ahmad, what would you say would be, I guess, a person who may be ideal for podcasting?
Right. Thanks again for that wonderful introduction. So the ideal person is really anyone can create a podcast. Now, with that being said, there are some criteria that you want to check first. Number one, do you have a purpose? If you don't have a purpose for a podcast, it's going to flop. And that's that's in life in general. If you don't have a purpose, you will flop, right? So you have to have a purpose. You need to have some type of message. What is your message? What are you trying to get out? And the third one that I would say is who do you want to talk to? Who's your demographic? So what's your purpose? What's your message? And who are you trying to talk to?
Okay. Perfect. Are you finding that with everything that's been happening because of COVID, of course, we know that more people who may have been more quiet are definitely now in a position where they feel, I think, a little bit more open to be able to expressing their point of view. It doesn't necessarily have to be political, but it could be their point of view in reference to how business runs, how, we were talking a little bit before we started, even in reference to kind of customer service, things that may be things that could have potentially been overlooked in the past. Are you finding any particular trends, I guess, in reference to how podcasting is changing because of COVID, and if there are any particular areas that you're seeing growth for podcasting?
Yeah, phenomenal. So right now it is explosive. Two reasons. Number one, it is because of COVID, and we'll get into that in a second. But really, podcasting was already growing. It's about 10 years in the making, and maybe a little bit older than that. But 10 years is what everyone has been pretty much coming out of their shell right now. Those who've been podcasting for 10 years plus, they're the ones who are really making podcasting really big because they have phenomenal numbers. They've been consistent for so long in podcasting that they have, I'm talking about multi-million downloads in a 10-year period. So when you're starting to have like these podcast superstars, right now we're starting to see them just like how YouTube superstars were about 10 years ago, and then YouTube started to blow up. So podcast superstars are the ones that are making it really popular right now. Now, going to where we are currently, because of that buzz with podcasting, it was going to be a bubble this year anyway. But I think the coronavirus and the quarantine and all of that we're going through really just highlighted that bubble even louder. And now when we talked about on the last show where, use your voice, every human being has a voice. Whether you're quiet or if you're loud, right? Everyone has a voice. Everyone knows how to say something to get something. We all know how to do that because in our infancy, we had to use our voice to say, change my diaper. I want some milk, come pick me up. I need to be burped or whatever. So it's built in our DNA as a human being to use our voice for something that we want. And I think that's what we're starting to see. Why you're saying like people who are normally quiet, it's like you're at home and you're realizing that I need to speak up about something. And you talk about the trends right now. I'm gonna tell you something real quick. The number one style of a genre of podcasts are Christian programs. Christian programs get the most attention. That's number one. So if you're a Christian and you want to do a podcast, your content is being sought out the most, that category, especially right now. But I'm seeing a huge trend in business owners jumping into podcasting to maximize their brand. Also, they are looking to create communities to increase their retention rate and to also maintain to increase leads and to, of course, get more sales. So business owners are very, very active right now in the podcast.
Okay. Yeah. So you were saying like using on our last podcast, you were saying the importance of having your voice. And now with COVID and everyone being a little bit more restricted than normal, more people are finding their way onto the internet, whether it be podcasting or doing live videos, such as what we're doing now. As you're seeing that trend, what are some of the biggest, I guess you talked about a couple of them, but give us some of the biggest whys, why someone who is just starting out, why they would want to focus on a podcast, whether you're looking to grow your business, start a business, or if you're just a person who has a lot of thoughts they're going to get out. Why would you want to look at podcasting as a source, especially within the minority communities, Black and brown people and women?
Okay. I'll tell you in general first why people in general are trying to podcast, and then I'll give you the reasons for why you should podcast, and then I'll wrap it up with the minority component. So in general, the reason why people are jumping into podcasting is number one, because it's the hot thing. This is the gold rush. This is the gold rush right now. YouTube and all of that videos, they're still in a really good golden era, but it's kind of like if you're playing in the stock market, if you put money into something that's already kind of grown a little bit, you'll still grow, but you won't make the same return if you put that same amount of money into a podcast, because it's the margins are wider. So podcasting hasn't hit the peak that YouTube has hit. Not saying that YouTube has peaked, but it's just further along its growth. So you'll see a better return on your investment, your time, if you grow a podcast, because it's still in this considered infancy stage. Okay. So that's number one, why people are jumping on podcasting. It's the gold rush right now. Now, why do you want to podcast? Is really because number one, audio is still the number one form of consumption across all media. You think you don't watch movies more than people listen to audio. You don't watch videos, TV shows more than the consumption of audio. Radio is still considered a top form of consumption. Yes, that thing that's in your car is still one of the top ways of consuming content in America. And then, of course, streaming content, Spotify, Pandora, and all of that is also bringing in a lot of consumption, which is why Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, they're now jumping into the game. And what they're doing is they're getting exclusive celebrities to be a part of their platforms. Like First Lady Michelle Obama just recently launched her podcast, and you can only get it on Spotify. You know why? Because podcasting is the next big thing over the next 10, 15 years. And you're going to start seeing more of this type of war between the big wigs fighting on who gets the most listeners and subscribers on their platforms. So that's the reason why you want to jump on audio, is because it's the number one consumed product. Number two, it's easier to listen to audio while you're multitasking. If you're washing dishes, I can listen to your podcast. If I'm driving in the car, I can listen to your podcast. If I'm working out in the gym, I can listen to your podcast. So you can't do that with video. Some people try, and I'm sure their car insurance has increased because of that, you know? So, so it's easier to consume podcasting. And then it's also easier to produce a podcast. You don't have to worry about making sure your hair is good. You don't have to worry about your makeup. You don't have to worry about, is your background looking great and stuff like that. You know, you don't have to worry about things of that nature. When a podcast, you can do that, you know, first thing in the morning and use your bedroom voice and you sound great because, you know, you need that deeper voice, you know, first thing in the morning, you know. But you might not want to do that first thing in the morning on a YouTube video, you know.
Right, right. You'd be completely fresh, completely fresh.
Right. You know, I don't like, you know, when you asked me to be on your show today, I said, oh gosh, I have to go put on my tie, make sure, you know, my dreads are straight, you know. Oh, where's my America pin, you know. So I'm worried about all of this stuff, but on a podcast, it's just easier. I can just jump on, I can jump off, you know. So those are some of the main reasons why you want to podcast. It's just, in one word, it's easy. Yeah. And then as far as minorities, it's so important right now for African Americans and Spanish, really just anyone who is brown, black or brown, to jump into podcasting or any of the social medias, YouTubing, etc. Number one, because black and brown people are the number one consumers of the content. Yeah. So what happens is we're consuming this content more than anyone else at a higher ratio. And the content that we're getting is not from us.
Right.
Yeah. We're being programmed to learn about another culture, which is not a bad thing. It's just, it doesn't help us be unified as a people, so we can make sure that we understand our differences and our quirks, so that way only one culture knows us, you know. So we're only learning about one culture from one culture perspective, and we can't blame anything but us, because social media and internet is open to everybody. Okay, it's open to everybody. So we can do this video and send it to all our friends that are black and brown. There's no excuse, right? So it's imperative that we do jump onto these platforms, because we're underrepresented, yet we consume more of the content. And this is something that we see across the board, and we can blame systems for it. But in this situation, we can't blame a system. The government may get more involved with social media and internet later, but right now, we can jump on and tell our story. Now, as far as women, and this is women as a whole, white and black and brown women. Let me tell you, white women in America, you are a minority.
Yes.
And there's more women on this planet than men. Like, it's crazy to me, right?
Right.
It's just the term minority is just, it's minority in the mindset, but not minority in the body and numbers, because it's more black and brown people in the world too, right? So it's just, we call ourselves minorities in our minds, but really we're the majority. But ultimately women, right? So you all celebrate 100 years of being a citizen in America this month and next month. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
Like your right
just
to
100
vote.
years. I mean, and you say 100 and it sounds big, but how
old is this country?
The United States is much older than that, and I've only got 100 years rocking this thing.
Exactly. So you have 100 years, and by the way, African Americans were given the right to vote before all women were given the right to vote. African Americans were given the right to vote in on the 15th Amendment. Women didn't get it to the 19th Amendment. So that's why I say you didn't become a citizen until when you get the right to vote, you become a citizen, right? So it was ratified August 100 years ago. So anyway, that's a little bit of, get on your game. Yeah, women, we need women in the game. The feminist movement is designed as a backlash to the buffoonery of American politics, right? So I feel like it's so important for women to get involved in the media because your story is really not being told. It is this industry is a male-driven industry. Kudos to Fox for having a woman CEO because you can see her influence through Fox Channel. Yes, we still see some of the issues that we're accustomed to seeing Fox, but there's some times when you're looking at Fox, you're like, what channel am I watching? And that's because you have a sensible woman at the helm. I'm going to put it out there. And a lot of these alpha males may be very disappointed in the comments that I'm making, and I don't care because I'm going to use my alphaness back against you. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is this, there's no lion that walk around the jungle that's alpha 100% of the time. The lion is really prowling in beta mode. Yeah. And he becomes an alpha when he needs to be an alpha. So we could go against that toxic alpha male mentality on another show. We're not supposed to go there today, but
Well, you already said we're going to do part 3. So don't go there.
Don't get me started. But I'm just saying, like, it's just so important that we elevate women. And I had these debates with men on this, etc. But women need to truly be elevated because there is misrepresentation. And if a black man gets upset with me saying that, then a black man can't have the argument of misrepresentation either. He just has to say that he's properly being represented in America. He has to be comfortable with that. And I'm not comfortable with how I'm represented in America, but I see there's possibilities that's not holding me back to balance that out. And I see the same possibilities for all women to balance it out so that women's stories can be told a little bit more from your perspective, not just from a male's perspective. You have to own your own media to do that.
Yeah. That's some amazing information. But I mean, it's true. I look across some of the podcasts that I listen to, and most of them are men. There's only, I think, maybe 2 women podcasters that I follow, and they have amazing content. And with that being said, only one of the people that I follow is African American. He's an African American male. And I love his content. And it's about business. It's about my Christian faith and business. So we do need a bigger, a stronger presence within this medium so that our voices can be heard, our stories can be told, our success stories, our struggle stories, whatever it is. Right. And for me, it was something that you said there about us being the biggest consumers on the planet, but yet not being the biggest creators of content. And that's just not within media either. That's across all realms of business. There's this big explosion of entrepreneurship within the Black community because we buy more stuff than anybody.
Right.
Regardless of price, we buy more stuff than anybody. So marketing is generally geared towards us to get us to buy it. So why don't we create it? And I'm really glad that you said that because we are consuming a lot of podcasts. We are consuming a lot of videos in order to get to that next level. We're self-educating through these things, but we're not the ones that we're seeing or hearing when we're listening to this content. We're listening to it from someone else. It doesn't mean that there aren't Black professionals that know how to do this, or female professionals, or Hispanic or other brown and Black cultures that know how to do this. We just don't get to see them because we're not making this stuff. So we really need to get in the business of making this stuff.
Absolutely. And I think that's the reason for Power 77 Studios is to put a new face in the game. A lot of the African-American entertainers or those who have media organizations, the ones that we're aware of are the ones who are celebrities. These are the ones who have already made it. We don't really see a lot of the media outlets, the owners on a lower level like me, that's trying to get out into the masses, to say, hey, you know what? Here's someone that looks like you. I have a studio that can assist you with creating your content, and I can help you as a professional to another professional, and we can create something high quality that you can be proud of and your community can be proud of. And there are more African Americans, minorities, women that are doing this, and they're successful, but they're just not being highlighted. And I feel like that's a whole other discussion, or maybe a whole other mission that has to be put together, like maybe some type of broadcasters guild, or some type of media guild for people who are not on upper echelon level, that still have a lot of quality, but just say, hey, you know what? Let's all of us get together in this circle and focus on our local communities. I think that's what I'm getting at. Our local media outlets, such as myself, are they getting out? Are they being interviewed? Are they, engaging in the community to let other people know, like, hey, I can help you along the way. And I think that's the type of awareness that I'm trying to do in my community through my following, etc. So.
Good deal.
And then also, when you do make it, don't change your pricing to the point where the people who can't get to your level can't touch you. That's also important too.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't, like, if I try to contact P. Diddy Studios, it's unattainable. But I have the experience, and I have the know-how, and I believe in the same level of quality that Sean Combs has. But he's only going to work with people that are on his level. But I feel like we need a studio that says, hey, once I get to a level, if God sees it the same, I can work with Sean Combs. I can work with Nick Cannon. Can I work with Nick Cannon right now? I don't know.
You can work with Nick.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of heat right now, but my point is, like, I should be able to work with these well-established men that or like an Oprah, or Gail, or whoever, who's further along than I am in this industry. Why I would like to work with them, a Tyler Perry, and say, hey, I want to do high quality productions with you, but still be accessible to someone who is, like, I have a single mother with kids that want to do a podcast. Like, I feel like we should be able to have studios like that. And it's not really just for Black people. I just think just anyone. Anyone should be able to, like, can we have, like, like a Lexus Toyota version of a studio? I can give you a Lexus and I can give you a Toyota.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's completely reasonable.
Right.
In reference to the representation, some of it could be a little bit of hesitancy, maybe for the people that may be interested. And so what would you say would be maybe one or two ways that people can kind of overcome, especially when people get a little bit nervous about it's public speaking, even though you're not speaking directly, one-on-one with people. But what would you say would be maybe one or two tips that could help people to kind of overcome some of that media shyness, if you will,
right.
That's preventing them from being able to release their voice.
Right. All right. So if you have that fear, then the first fear you have to get over is the first fear is the fear of getting help. That's the first thing. It's like, I'm scared to do a YouTube channel. I'm scared to podcast. I don't know if anyone wants to hear what I have to say. I just got off the phone before with you, and potential customer. Hi, Cammie. She wanted to do a podcast, and the first thing she said was she has been nervous to do it because she didn't know if anybody wants to talk to her. Does anybody wants to hear from her? But she wasn't scared to talk to me to talk about her issue. She already had overcome that fear. And I think that's the first step is, hey, you know what? I have a fear of broadcasting. I have a fear of being in front of the camera or being on the microphone. Do I have a fear of asking someone to help me? Because if you're listening and you're watching this right now and you have a fear of podcasting or being on a YouTube, then what's holding you back from talking to me, right? You should be able to Google Power 77 Studios, set up a session with me, and let's talk about your fears. I'm not going to charge you to talk about your fears. I'm going to talk to you to see like, hey, what's going on in your life that's keeping you from fulfilling your dream. So with Cammie's example, she told I had a conversation with her to kind of learn, what kind of person are you? Like, why do you want to podcast? And come to find out, she has never done it before. She's never done any kind of broadcasting before. But when she was in school, she was on the debate team. And I said, there it is right there. I said, the reason why you want a podcast is because you were on a debate team. If there was a podcast back then, you would have done a podcast back then. You know, it's like you on a podcast is no different than you debating someone. You're gonna state your facts and give your opinion. That's it. And then her fear went away. She was like, that makes sense. I'm excited. I'm ready to get started. So you have to get over the fear of talking to someone about your fears. And if you want to talk to someone who's a professional about your fear of fulfilling your dream in the media, then you should give me a call and we'll talk about it. And I'm telling you, you don't have a passion to do this for no reason. Like there's a reason. There's something that you have as a child that sparked in your heart. And one thing that I tell people, I know this is a long-winded answer to your beautiful question, but the reason why you have fear to fulfill your dream is because the very people who told you that you could do anything in your life that you wanted to are telling you when you got to a certain age that you need to hang up that dream now because you're too old to do it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. If you're 12, you're not scared to jump up there because everyone's telling you can do whatever you want to do. But when you turn 27, when you turn 35, you're 45 now, you're 57. I have several clients that are baby boomers podcasting for the very first time.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's
several.
Awesome. Yeah.
Several.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to realize where that fear is coming from. And it's because people have lied to you. Either they lied to you, could have been your parents, said that you could do whatever it is that you want to do. And then when you finally start doing what you want to do, now your parents telling you you can't do it.
Yeah.
So where are they lying? They lying to you now or did they lie to you before? Your friends are telling you shouldn't be doing that. They're lying to you.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
That's an amazing point right there for so much more than podcasting and internet radio. I mean, that truth will set a bunch of people free that need to do what they've been designed to do. And now, because of their own fears or the fears that have been projected onto them from other people, it's now causing them to live in this box of despair. So yeah, that's an excellent nugget right there, sir. That's
absolutely. And I'm happy my parents have always supported me, by the way, because I don't want to thinking like, your mama told you can't do it. Like, no, my mother is my number one fan.
Right.
They bought every shirt. They buy every, they do everything. They listen to the podcast, listen to my radio show. They're praying for me. And, you know, so my parents have supported me. But there are other people that are in your circle that will tell you, you know, I've been asked one time, like, what makes you so special?
Yeah.
You know, it's like I've been in the industry for 20 years. Like, like why would you no one would go to a lawyer who's been a lawyer for 20 years and then they say they want to start their own practice. No one would go to a lawyer, their friends and family, and say, what makes you so special?
Right.
No one's gonna go to a doctor and be like, I've been a doctor for 20 years. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start my own practice. Your friends and family are gonna say, why are you starting your own practice?
Right. That's right.
You know? Right. But when you want to do a dream like that's in this field, like media and stuff like that, you want to do music or anything like that, that's when people are going to start looking at you like you cray-cray. You know, so it's a different. So get used to it. That fear, you know, is a lie. Call me, talk to me. We'll get it over. We get you over that hump.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that I just wanted to be able to insert is just that, you know, there's no pain like the pain of regret.
Mm.
And you really don't want to live in that bubble where you didn't at least give the goal, the dream, the vision, the try. Because one thing, the three of us are all Christian. And one thing that I really believe more than anything is that God is not going to ask you when you meet him face to face what your friends, what your parents, what your allies, what your enemies said about you and the gifts that he chose to bestow upon you. He's going to ask you, what did you choose to do with it? And when I prompted you to be able to move on that, why didn't you move?
Come on.
Right.
And I know for me, I don't want to have to answer that question, you know, and so whatever I can do, you know, to be able to do that. And, you know, I can say I recently launched my podcast and, you know, it's.
Yes.
Thank you, Ahmad. I can testify Ahmad is an amazing coach. He
Thank
really
you.
is.
Yes, he is.
But I think one of the things is that people seem to think that it's super complicated. It's going to cost a whole lot of money. It's going to be one of those things. And I think that sometimes we have to get past, especially the age that we're in reference to the total number of likes that you're getting. It's going to take time for you to be able to create your audience. Some people may already have built-in audiences, maybe from extended family or even business associates, other people that were maybe used to hearing you or seeing you in different formats. And that's great, you know, when you're able to build that. But here's the thing, this is something that you created. And I think that is something that's super, super exciting, because you would be in another minority of people that decided to launch out into the deep, if you will.
Right.
And to be able to try this and to be able to exercise the power of your voice. And so I definitely encourage people who may have already been thinking about it. Hey, you know, you really don't have much to lose. And so, you know, with saying that, Ahmad, you don't have to necessarily get into great detail, but can you just kind of explain maybe a few of the things that people may need to be able to get started, especially in reference to, you know, being able to, you already mentioned about definitely seeking out, you know, professional guidance, but also some of the other things that they may want to have in reference to getting started and
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And just to your point about, you know, using your gift, I just placed a scripture on my website at power77studios.com that speaks directly to that, where it's basically about, you know, using your gifts to serve others. And that's something I'm going to do some scripture memorization on. I think I put 1 Peter 4:12, and so that's something I want to memorize. It's like, yes, let's use your gifts. Like, God has given us our gifts to serve others, and that's what we need to do. And that's the reason why I price my services accordingly, because I don't want to go before my guys. Like, there's a lot of things that God's going to say, Ahmad, you made me work extra time. Me and all these angels work overtime on you. Like he's like where they're saying grace about, like, yeah, you need a whole lot of grace on you, son. So
but you knew I was your special child, so you know.
Man, I mean, that grace comes with me everywhere I go. but one thing that I feel like that he is, you know, blessing me in is pricing, is where I'm able to say, hey, you know what, I sleep good at night knowing that when you come to me, you're going to be offered a price that should be affordable to you. Where if it is a sacrifice, it's a sacrifice of the things that you want in life. Right. And also is where, if God talks to me and he says, have you ever stopped someone from fulfilling the dreams that I put in their heart? And I can say, I honestly tried, Father, to make it attainable for them to work through me. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. The things that you're going to need to get started with your podcast is you need to have a microphone. You need a microphone, right? You can, believe it or not, start with your phone, and I feel like Secret Service right now, but you can use just this, your AirPods or whatever. And you can, if I have an iPhone, which is the best phone in the market, but I believe Androids, they should have this. If not, you need to switch over to Apple. They're not paying me for this. But they have like a voice recorder. You have a voice recorder. You can easily start your podcast just like that. A podcast is nothing more than just a contained audio file. That's it. Is nothing complicated. Like you said, Adina, it's not complicated. You take that audio file and guess what? You can now send it to your friends. You can post it on your website. That is your basic level podcast. You can make it downloadable from, like, LinkedIn allows you to upload an audio file and people can stream it on LinkedIn. You can upload an audio file on Facebook. You can upload and people can stream it. You can upload an audio file and put it on YouTube, and you don't have to watch video. It can just stream audio and people can listen to it. There are other platforms that you can upload this audio file and stream it. There's tons of them that you can just, do a Google search and say, I want to upload a audio file or start a podcast or whatever. And they're out there. Some have charges and some are free, right? But you can start with that. And then maybe that can help you overcome a fear, right? Without you spending any money. And then when you're ready to take it to the next level, there are other platforms out there that you can search, that you can research and stuff, where you can say, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to take it to another level. I'm going to invest some time, a little bit more effort. I would not recommend you publishing now to like Apple or Spotify. I would stay away from those platforms when you're first getting started, because you really just want to kind of get the groove first. Yeah. That's why I say record like on your phone first.
That's really
I'm
good.
putting in your website information here. I know you have the power77radio.com. And if someone wants to reach out to you so you can help them with becoming a podcaster, what's your website for them to reach out to you?
Right. You'll go to power77studios.com. You'll go there. I'm giving you the full process of what we do from the pre-production to distribution. We do it all. We help you with the show prep. We distribute everything to you. Adina, we no longer offer just the regular coaching service anymore. So we're now 100% full service. So you're grandfathered in, by the way. Adina, you've been with us for like eons, I feel like.
And it's just been a few months.
Right. But we've done a lot, and your show is phenomenal. So, but anyone who comes in, it's a full service package now where we do everything. Adina didn't even know we did all this because she had to grow into it with us. Mm-hmm. But we do all the show descriptions for you. We do all the editing for you now. We add the music. If you need a voiceover, we help you with that. We schedule it for you. I mean, all you have to do is this. So if you're scared, to do all the technical stuff or whatever, you don't have to worry about that anymore. It's like we're officially a full-fledged studio. We can even now help you with your web design, social media. We can help with if you want access to our marketing and advertising team to promote your program or your business. We're a fully turnkey studio, which a studio is supposed to do. When you watch a movie, it says Universal or MGM, Sony or whatever. They have a turnkey system. They do everything in-house for the most part, So we're the same way. When you hire us as your studio, you have access to everything that you need to be successful.
Awesome. And, so I can speak to that because after our show, Adina told me about Ahmad for a while. And I just put it off because I put it off. Not really good reason, but I put it off. And then after you came on the show, I was like, okay, wow, that's awesome. Let me reach out to him. And he told me about everything that he offered. And I was like, okay, that's definitely what I want to do, because I've been told about the steps to podcasting being easy. And I even had some of the tools to do it because they were free. So I downloaded them, set up some profiles, but I never really did the whole process. And then once I spoke to Ahmad after a couple, even in the first conversation, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I need, especially if those who are entrepreneurs or you have a full-time job and you want to do this, but you can't see yourself having all of the time to learn the ins and outs. That was me. And the pricing that Ahmad set was amazing. So yeah, you want to reach out to him to find out more information about how to get started, or if you have one and you want to know how to make it better and, you know, get it to platforms, definitely reach out to him. We've put his information in the comment section. So whether you're watching across Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, or Twitter, you should have seen that come up in your comment feeds, www.power77radio.com. as well as www.power77studios.com if you're interested in wanting to learn how to become a podcaster.
Absolutely. And you can actually schedule a session with me on my website. So when you go to the actual studios website, you'll see a location to schedule. I had 3 slots available. Now I'm down to 2 because I just brought someone on before this. So I have 2 slots available. So
2 slots, people.
Yeah.
2 slots.
But I'm probably going to create like a waiting list if those slots are going. So still schedule yourself. If you see 0 slots on there, you can still schedule yourself on the website, and we'll just create a waiting list, and I'll come up with something that we can work together while you're waiting for a slot to open up. So still reach out to me, because maybe you're not ready. And the waiting list will still be a beneficial spot for you to be in, because you'll still be able to contact me and we can still talk. Because like LaQuita said, like, I do stuff for free as well. Like, I send you free tools, and you can talk to me, you know, in an unlimited amount of time. So I may be able to just go ahead and start getting you started with some of the free tools if you just sign in, you know, and then I just get you on a waiting list. And then once we open up a slot, then I can bring you all the way on board and we can start producing your podcast. So at least sign in just so that you can get access to some of the free tools. So good point, LaQuita. Thank you. I didn't even think about that. I need to bring you on my PR team.
I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you.
Right. That's what's up. 2 thumbs up. Awesome. This is so much fun. We
love having you on here. I know you have a hard stop time, so
yes,
we're actually 5 minutes past that hard stop time. So
okay, yeah, I have another client. So the last time we had a meeting, last time we had this interview, I was 30 minutes late with her. but she's been with me. She was my second client ever. She was my second client ever. Yeah. So we've developed a unique relationship. Yeah. So it's different. So she understands where I'm at right now. So
her patience with us, but we won't keep them waiting today.
All right. Excellent.
We want to have you come back on again for a third show to talk about the progress of your business. And I did want to ask you a question that's you will not be able to answer this before you have to get off, but just keep your wheels turning, because you guys brought up some amazing points about particular people that are in the media space and how they're doing things. And I know when Byron Allen's case was going on, I just felt like he did not get enough attention in our community. That should, and why his case was so significant. And the blow that it did. I mean, in the end, it still worked out kind of okay, but it should have definitely went in a different manner. And it's really important, even with Nick Cannon, why you want to own your own stuff. Yeah,
and that's so important.
Why you want to own your own stuff.
We can definitely get into that because we know who owns the media.
Yeah,
and that's really the reason why you don't want to talk about those people in a negative light. Really, it's because you'll lose everything. And really, we shouldn't talk about them negatively anyway, because our plight is very similar to theirs. And anyone who tries to put us above them is foolish, you know. But I would love to get more into that. And when we do the next time we're together, maybe we could do something unique for your listeners who might want to podcast with me, and I can come up with something for them, a special offering or something. So maybe we can do something for them as well.
No, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for having me again. I love it. I love it. And I love you both. And I just, hope the best for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, it is that time. We've had a wonderful day. Thank you guys so much for watching us across Periscope, Facebook and Twitter. Please continue to hit that like and share button on this broadcast. Get it out to as many people as possible. If you're a first-time viewer and you're viewing us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and still go ahead and share this broadcast across all social media platforms. And we will be excited, and we will be back on Tuesday at 12 noon to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time with Lunch and Learn with LaQuita and Adina every Tuesday and every Thursday from 12 p.m. Central Standard Time to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until next time, take care. God bless.
Blessings.
Bye-bye.
Bye.